دلوقتي يا شباب هنكمل موديول نمبر 7 اللي هو cover clause number 8 اللي هي operations. And as we discussed before, going for prayer, that the operations clause, it consists of 3 sub-clauses: operation, controls and planning, risk assessment, and risk treatment. In clause number 1 or sub-clause number 1, for operation controlling, we will go through some important phases. As number 1, the change management process. Change management process. What is the change management? The change management, it's methods and processes in which any company describe and implement changes within both internal and external processes. Then if you want to make any changes, you want to make any authorized changes to your operations or processes or whatever in your process in your organization, you have to follow specific steps. What are these specific steps? Number 1, you have to create a request for a change, which we call it RFC, request of a change. You have to write what is the reason of the change you require and what is the business justification for this change. Then the RFC, it will be reviewed. They have to review the CAB. What is the CAB? The CAB is the Change Advisory Board, and this it's committee, steering committee. It consists of a representative from each department, and we have to review the RFC and make sure that it will not affect the daily operations or the organization's goals and objectives. If the RFC it's approved, then if it's reviewed and it's okay, then it will go the approval process. It will be approved, and we will coordinate the changes. We have to define what are the resources required, what are the preparation we have to do it. Do we need to do it in a maintenance window, or it can go on the fly without affecting the operation, and so on. Then after make the preparation and coordination for the changes, we have to implement the changes, and after the implementation, we have to monitor it and make sure that it's effective and efficient. And finally, we have to document the change which we made to the system. For the resource management, it's ensuring that the appropriate resources are determined, and this mainly usually we are using the capacity management. Capacity management, this is the process which it is used for checking the resources, required resources it's available for not, especially for future expansion and for expansion. Mainly, for example, now we are using 1 terabyte storage on desktop. Then in future we may need 2 terabyte. Then this means that in the future we have to buy the notebooks with 2 terabyte. We have to add additional hard disk to our storage in the data center, and so on. Then this means that it will help in developing the appropriate resources and determine the appropriate resources for the implementation, maintenance, and the continual improvement of the ISMS process. For incident management, these are the standards which it follow or it describe the incident management. Of course, these are some of the standards: 27035 version 1, version 2, and 27032, and NIST cybersecurity framework. These are the standards which highlight and covering the incident management. Of course, each one of them, it's a full document, and if you are interested in, you have to get the document from the internet and go through it. In incident management, the most important topic here, it will call the SOC. I don't know if you heard about this expression before or not, but we saw this is the Security Operations Center. This is the center which is monitoring all the security devices, monitoring all the internet access, and check if there is any events, and these events are incidents, and if it's incident, then how do they report it, and how they respond, and what will the action required, and we have to make the root cause analysis for the case or the incident when we prevent the incident from appearing or recurring again. It's very important to have an incident management policy. Of course, as you can see in security management in general, whatever any topic we will speak about, we will say we need a policy for it. We need to understand what is the objective of the management for this one. You have security management, then you need security policy. You have risk management, then we need risk management policy. You have incident management, then we need incident management policy. This they show the top management commitment, information, the definitions of the incidents, rules and responsibilities, what are the required training courses and awareness sessions, how to collect and preserve the incidents data, and what are the reference of the local and international laws and regulation which you have to follow. The incident management process. Number one, what is the incident management process, or what are the activities which represent the incident management process? Step number one, you have to detect the event, that we have an event. And as you remember, we mentioned that the event is defined as identified occurrence. Identified occurrence. This occurrence, it can be, or this event, it can represent an threat, or it may not. If it's not represent, then it's an event. But if it represents security problem, or it will affect the asset security, then this means that it will be changed into an incident. Then the incident, this means that it is the event which it will cause security harm for the assets of the organization. If we detect an event and it's really classified as incident, then we have to report this event, analyze it, then assign priority for it, and we have to confirm if this is an incident or not. Then we have to make further investigation. If it's already considered as incident, then we have to take further investigation. This further investigation, it will go through the IRM analysis. IRM, this incident response management. Incident response management, or incident response team. Or incident response team. It has to go through the incident management response team to make more analysis for the event and make sure that what are the consequences or the assets which is affected, and what are the impact and all the stuff, and how it will affect the organization. Then we have to evaluate the consequences and take the response action. What is the appropriate risk action? After we take the action, we have to document this action and monitor it to make sure that it is effective and efficient. And finally, we have to update the documents for the incident management documents. It's very important in the incident management, the recording of the incident management. Why do you think that it's important? Recording is important here, my friends. Why recording incident it's important here? What do you think? Why?
Recording the incident would allow us to know what the current flows are in the company, so we can add upon it.
Okay, this one reason. Another reason for develop learned lessons. Another reason, because ISO 27001, it mentioned that monitoring and measurement documents are mandatory, and you have to provide it for the external auditor when will come to evaluate the ISMS for ISO implementation and certification. Okay, Well, when you start to make the incident recordings, what are the information which you should include? Number one, you have to the incident number or any unique identifier. You have to define the category of the incident. It may be hardware, it may be software, it may be network, whatever the category. What is its priority? Of course, the priority is defined by the consequences. If the consequences and the impact of the incident is high, then its priority, it will be high. Date and time, reporter name, description of the incident, the status of the incident, what are the assets affected, and resolution information, what are the approvals required, and the incident closure, and finally you have to make the learned lessons. These are the required information for recording an incident. It's very important to review your incident management. Of course, whatever any management process, it's a continual phase. Whatever any management process, it requires continual improvement phase. Then continual improvement requires monitoring and measuring. Continuous improvement requires measuring and monitoring. Then you have to define the KPI. Do you know what is KPI? What is KPI?
Kill per incident.
Sorry, I cannot hear your voice.
Kill per incident?
No, KPI, it's key performance indicators. Key performance indicators. These are the attributes which you have to monitor it to make sure that the incident management is effective. For example, you have to monitor number of incidents reported every week, number of incidents fixed, number of recurrent or repeated incidents, and so on. Then there are the attributes which you have to monitor to make sure that this program or the incident management process, it's configured correctly. Also, you have to identify the corrective and preventive actions. What is the difference between corrective and preventive actions? What is the difference between corrective and preventive actions?
Preventive, the action that we take before any accident happen, but the corrective is the thing that we do after the incident already happened.
Excellent. Excellent answer. Thank you. Okay. Okay, excellent. Now we had, of course, I will not cover the risk assessment and risk treatment again. We covered this yesterday, and it will be the same concept as is before. And now let's check how we can implement the operations in the XYZ company clause number 1 for risk treatment plan. As we agreed, the risk treatment plan, this is the interface between the plan phase and the do phase. And risk treatment plan is prepared in the risk management phase in clause number 6. And the operation team, we are responsible for implementing the treatment option in production by choosing the suitable controls. And we have a dedicated module for security control design, module number 10, the last module, inshallah, in this course. Then number 1, we have to work on the risk treatment plan, XYZ company. We have to work on the treatment plan, which it was developed in the risk management, and we have to implement the security controls. The security operation require many processes, as we mentioned, the change management, the capacity management, the incident management process, availability management, business and disaster management, and of course, I give you the reference here, it is the ITIL documentation. XYZ company, they agreed that we have to implement all these processes in the company. For the change management, XYZ company management understand the importance of change management, and they decide that they will have a change management policy. They have to develop change management policy. Also, they will develop the change advisory board, and we arrange change management courses for CAB members. We will arrange change management courses for the CAB members and arrange change management awareness session for all the employees. These are the decisions by XYZ company related to change management. We will develop the change management policy. We will develop develop change advisory board, and we will develop the change management courses for CAB members and awareness session for XYZ companies. For resource management, they decide to implement the capacity management process for XYZ company, and this it will help to manage all the resources in the company. For the incident management, they discover here that unfortunately we don't have the talent and the skills in XYZ company to discover any incidents. I think this one of the practical examples which you can see in life, my friends. The company, we don't have the skills, and this skills, it's very important. Because if you don't have enough information about security and all this stuff, then you will not be able to figure out the security incidents and how we can fix it. That's why the company management, we are really smart, and they discovered that they don't have the experience for doing this, and it's not easy to hire a team to do this exercise for them. Then what did they decide? They decide to hire third party to handle the incident management process in XYZ company. They decide that they will hire a third party to handle XYZ in XYZ company to handle the incident management process. And this decision, it will be evaluated every 2 years. Then next 2 years, it will be evaluated. If they find that they have the enough experience where we can implement the incident management on site, this will be great, and we will terminate the contract and we will have it on site. If it's not, then they will continue with the XYZ company. By the way, just some information for you that the incident management here, it will be a third party, it will be a cloud solution. It will be a cloud solution. What do you mean by a cloud solution? That the partner, he will bring some devices. It will collect the log file from the services, from the applications, from the software, from internet, from email servers, from proxy servers, and so on, and send all this information into the cloud, to the third-party cloud, and they will process it and make sure that it's clear. And if there is any attack, it will send a message to the XYZ company to alert them about the attack and to ask them to take the mandatory or necessary action. Okay, what are the documents required for the operations? The operations document required is the risk assessment, as we mentioned in clause number 6. Planning, the risk assessment documents are very important. All the risk documents are very important, and it should be provided to the inspector or the auditor, external auditor, when we come to make the audit for the ISO 27001. Okay, as a quick recap for the operation, I think we had good decisions during this phase for implementation, the risk treatment plan, for develop the change management process and develop the CAB, also develop capacity management process, and to hire third party to handle the incident management processes in XYZ company. These are the steps which we did during this phase for the implementing clause number 8 planning in XYZ company. Any questions?